Hello, early birds. Welcome to the Reading Epic Threads live stream. June 15th, 2021, 7:36 p.m. Central Standard Time. I know I'm not even scheduled till 8:10, but guys, I have a feeling that I'm going to need to get to bed relatively early. This is going to be a long stream. A lot to get to. Tons happening. All of it good. And we've also got part one of St. Richie's Oracle piece. So let's start slow. I want to say hi to everybody. It's just been a lot today, guys. The Ivory Hecker story. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this Project Veritas release that just came out, but it's not even that bombshell of a story. We know that the news has been suppressing hydroxychloroquine. But when you actually hear these animals in the management of these news organizations just telling their reporters, look, we got to report the freaking things that our advertisers want us to report, okay? We got to worry about industry professionals who make sure that we stay employed. Guys, there is no fixing the mainstream media. It must be wiped away. Removed permanently. Let's say hello to the real early birds here. Epic Jill, Platypus Foot, Barbara Bear, Angel Paste, Richard Rohrer, Susan the Cracked Egglet, Mountain Woman, Juliet, and Christine Daly. Melissa Swancutt, nice to see you as well. Susan S., Susan O'Leary. So I'm kind of blown away by the Project Veritas story. You got to watch it. I also strongly recommend that you take a look at the video I made on Odyssey, Decoding Symbols, COVID and the Vax. This is not controversial anymore. It was a fraud from the very beginning. It was always a fraud. It was specifically a fraud of knowledge of forethought by hospital administrations and hospital staff. They were instructed to lie to people and tell them that the hospitals were full. And by the way, and the other part that's really bothering me is how many supposed normal people spend so much stupid time saying, well, that would be just too big a conspiracy. No, it's not. Okay. And I also have a real gripe with Benjamin Franklin. 3 can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. That has been one of the most blue-pilling expressions ever told. Every jagoff who's ever read Poor Richard's Almanac says, well, yeah, you can't maintain a conspiracy that big, you freaking tinfoil hat. So thanks, Ben Franklin. That sucked. Sorry, I guess I'm a little pissed after the Project Veritas story. Hipster Cat. Hi, all home skillets. Hello, all of you home skillets. Adapt and overcome. Great to be here with y'all. Great to have you here as well. Alchar 2, nice to see you as well. Angela, nice to see you as well. Mountain Woman, Michelle Miller, St. Richie, good to have you here, my friend. So I've just been kind of bitching after the Project Veritas story. So let's see how much they fired her. Obviously, they fired her. I mean, duh. But let's see. GiveSendGo.com / what is it? Support Ivory. Let's see what comes up. If I got it right. Let's see. Holy shit. Okay, so she's already raised $48,000 in like 2 hours. So I think we can assume she makes $150 as a reporter for Fox 26. So, it's a third of her yearly income. It's good stuff. She'll be fine. Yeah, Kim, Special Ops Kim points out, I already knew, didn't I? I did. I knew. Hi, Wade Mason. Hi, Miss Hendricks 16. Hello, Jose Cito Woodwell. Cheesy Moto, good to see you. I just want to also toss out huge, huge thank you for and I call them super chats, from all of you who contributed to my trip to Oklahoma on the 26th. It's a fundraiser. It's for Jackson Lammeyer, who is going to be primarying the filthy Oklahoma rhino who totally sided with the swamp after the election was stolen. So his name is James Lankford, and he obviously needs to be removed from office. I will be joining Jackson Lammeyer and General Flynn in Norman, Oklahoma, which is where the event will be. It'll be at the Embassy Suites Conference Center. I'll be there. I actually went ahead and splurged for a VIP seat, so I'll be very, very close to the front. There's a 100% chance I'm going to be in a position to slip General Flynn one of these bad boys. So JamesMG@Verizon.net. I just want you to know I'm going to succeed in my mission this next time. I might even get a little bit of FaceTime with General Flynn. So if you guys could, if you want to continue supporting it, it's almost fully funded, but it would be nice to have it truly fully funded. So paypal.me/Bitcoin Armada if you want to support that effort. On the exact same day, Donald Trump is going to be hosting his very first rally of 2021 in Cleveland, Ohio. So shit's getting real as usual. And of course, angelpaste.com, promo code Shapiro. Whenever the world seems completely insane, I know that there are products out there that aren't filled with poison. Food-grade plant oils made by a cosmetic surgeon's assistant. A formula she designed over trial and error over 2 years for the perfect aftercare for scars, for making skin more supple, for making it more resilient. And the scent is incredible, no matter which scent you pick. Angelpaste.com. Promo code Shapiro. Angel Paste. It's got what skin craves. And where's my Cooper in French? There it is. I keep forgetting to shave. I shaved 2 days ago, and it's time for me to shave again. CooperInFrench.com. Promo code Shapiro. Your skin will be smooth, and it won't be irritated. It's perfect. Can't live without it. All right. So I'm going to say a big thank you to Mermaid Miss K for your donation. Andrew Foster, your donation so much. And then Rachel Head, just thank you so much. So like very, very big thank yous to everybody who's helping to fund this. It blows me away that you guys are so generous. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate it enormously. Everything that's happening when it comes to donations, when it comes to new orders for Angel Paste, the community is growing, and you guys, I think you guys are at the very bottom floor of a really, really beautiful thing. So I just want to thank you again for continuing to support what I'm doing. All right. So, Mary Doe, speaking of people who have supported this channel. Jordan, how are you? All right, guys. So I think what we're going to Carla points out, really early start. Notice I haven't read any epic threads yet. I just kind of wanted to get on the screen and talk to everybody. Number one, to thank people for the donations for the trip to Oklahoma, which will be great. It's going to be really great. And just to let you know that today's a weird day after this Project Veritas release. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because she's with Fox 26 Houston, so it's like in my backyard. But she was quite a compelling witness. I've looked into her. She's obviously a conservative. She's one of 12 children. She's from Wisconsin. If you look at who she's following on Twitter, she's one of those. She's a conservative working for Fox 26. And I don't know how you work for Fox 26, but what she basically said was they don't do the news. They are constantly engaged in open deception. So, I mean, it's not that we didn't know it. It's just that we know that the reporters also know it, and the 99.9% of them are just totally fine with it. You know something, guys? See something, say something. You work for the fucking mafia. Blow the goddamn whistle. I'm sorry. Yeah. As you can see, it's gotten me into a bit of a mood. Now, among my people, has given us once again a badass two-parter. So that's awesome. I also got a report from CanCon. A Georgia auditor just basically laid it out that the Georgia election in Fulton County was so wrong in every count. If Brad Raffensperger had done any kind of real audit, if he'd done anything at all, he would have realized that the results of the election in Fulton County were completely wrong. Just fictitious. Just fictitious, guys. Nightmare on levels we can't even talk about yet. So another thing, I think it's pretty clear that this Jenna Ellis Esquire, yeah, there's just something fishy about that slag. I don't know what it is when she popped off to Mike Lindell and talked down to him. It just made me think of her as being this filthy little whore. And I don't really care if she's a good guy or a bad guy. I just think she's just a shitty person, and I dislike her intensely. And I don't really, in general, I think the only lawyer at this point that I'll ever trust is Sidney Powell. And the rest, that's not true. There are lots of great lawyers. Sorry, Project Veritas. The Project Veritas report has me in a freaking mood, guys. But no, there's Rainer Fudemich, the brilliant German lawyer who is trying to set up crimes against humanity, Nuremberg trials for the COVID crime against humanity. There are great lawyers out there. But Miguel Newhan slag is another word for skank, slattern, strumpet, whore. Woman of the evening. So Miguel Newhan says, I can't wait to call someone a slag. Yeah. All right. So what is up, Mark Conway? How are you, sir? Good to have you today, as always. Rake. Trollop. Thank you, Cheesy Moto. All right. What is up, Spirit Fox? All right. Let's see here. Andy Foster. When people start chasing reporters and screaming at them here, it'll be great to see. If they're smart, they better throw their network under the bus or get hounded like the Brit in London yesterday. I think it was 2 days ago, Andy Foster. And yes, very true. So speaking of that, we do have some reportage from Jason, which is always good to hear. And to answer your chat, Andy Foster, I agree with you. Yes. I don't know exactly what that needs to look like. Here in Texas, we haven't been abused nearly the way that people in Canada are being abused, or people in Australia are being abused. The countries that have forcibly disarmed their citizens have it the worst. In America, the cops are healthily afraid of oppressing the citizens because the citizens might just get kind of uppity. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so hello, Hipster Cat 1. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and let's start off. Let's start off with an email I got from Jason. Patrick, sorry, I somewhat derailed the stream last night with the video of Nick Watt being chased off the street. I debated whether or not to share that video because was that yesterday? Andy Foster, I stand corrected. I apologize. That was yesterday. God, time is just the weirdest thing right now. I debated whether or not to share that video because I anticipated that trolls might try to misconstrue it that we were celebrating violence. However, I decided that it was safe because there was no actual violence. Plenty of police were everywhere, etc. Also, I think it bears repeating what you said last night in response to the chat from the Big G, where he wrote, "Be honest, you're excited for carnage coming, aren't you?" And you said, Patrick, I am never going to be excited for carnage. The Big G, never, ever, never excited for carnage. I am excited for accountability and justice. It doesn't have to be violent, though. We can very peacefully put the criminals in prison after a fair trial. End quote. Quoting myself. Now back to Jason. They desperately want us to turn violent. But anyone who has followed Q for a while will know that we lose everything if we go down a violent path. When Q posted about the streets not being safe for them, it was not because we were a threat. What Q referenced with those posts was that when the tolerant left wakes up to the truth, those Antifa mobs are going to make the streets unsafe for them. If we were going to get violent, they would have known by now, and they would have not have had to create the January 6th false flag. It's another thing that's got me in a weird mood today. For the very first time, I actually watched the Ashley Babbitt footage. I'll have to get to you. I'll give you my own thoughts on that. First time I've ever watched it. Anyway, I also want to apologize for the sloppiness of misidentifying the location. I should have realized that it was London, not Australia. For my penance, I did a little digging on good old Bojo, Boris Johnson. Being American, I do not really spend any time following British politics, so all I knew about Boris was that he was supposedly a conservative who would help Trump. Turns out, Boris most definitely is in the club. Here are some extracts from an article that he wrote back in 2007. Link in the email, but here are the extracts. He said global overpopulation is the real issue. As for motherhood, the fertility of the human race, we are getting to the point where you simply can't discuss it. We are thereby refusing to say anything sensible about the biggest single challenge facing the earth. And no, whatever it may now be conventional to say, that single biggest challenge is not global warming. That is a secondary challenge. The primary challenge facing our species is the reproduction of our species itself. The world's population is now 6.7 billion, roughly double what it was when I was born. If I live to be in my mid-80s, then it will have trebled in my lifetime. The UN last year revised its forecasts upwards, predicting that there will be 9.2 billion people by 2050. And I simply cannot understand why no one discusses this impending calamity, why no world statesmen have the guts to treat the issue with the seriousness it deserves. How the hell can we witter on about tackling global warming and reducing consumption when we are continuing to add so relentlessly to the number of consumers? The answer is politics and political cowardice. There was a time in the 1960s and 1970s when people such as my father, Stanley, were becoming interested in demography, and the UN would hold giant conferences on the subject, and it was perfectly respectable to talk about saving the planet by reducing the growth in the number of human beings. But over the years, the argument changed, and certain words became taboo, and certain concepts became forbidden. And we have reached the stage where the very discussion of overall human fertility, global motherhood, has become more or less banned. We seem to have given up on population control, and all sorts of explanations are offered for the surrender. Some say Indira Gandhi gave it all a bad name by her demented plan to sterilize Indian men with the lure of a transistor radio. Some attribute our complacency to the Green Revolution, which seemed to prove Malthus wrong. It became the received wisdom that the world's population could rise to umpteen billions as mankind learnt to make several ears of corn grow where one had grown before. And then in recent years, the idea of global population control has been more or less stifled by a pincer movement from the right and the left. American right-wingers disapprove of anything that sounds like birth control, and so George W. Bush withholds the tiny contribution America makes to the UN Fund for Population Activities, regardless of the impact on the health of women in developing countries. As for the left, they dislike suggestions of population control because they seem to smack of colonialism and imperialism and telling the third world what to do. And so we have reached the absurd position in which humanity bleats about the destruction of the environment, and yet there is not a peep in any communique from any summit of the EU, G8, or UN about the population growth that is causing that destruction. The debate is surely now unavoidable. This is not, repeat, not an argument about immigration per se, since in a sense it does not matter where people come from, And with their skill and their industry, immigrants add hugely to the economy. This is a straightforward question of population and the eventual size of the human race. All the evidence shows that we can help reduce population growth and world poverty by promoting literacy and female emancipation, read murdering their fucking babies, and access to birth control. Isn't it time politicians stopped being so timid and started talking about the real number one issue? End of Bojo's article. And since Q has said to follow the wives, let's take a quick peek at Bojo's wife. From Twitter, Raheem Kassam tweets, Carrie Johnson, née Simons, was previously best known for performing in satanic sex rituals. Not even joking. Look it up. Finally, a quick plug for the video that you did earlier today from Martin Getty's 5 Lessons for the Effective Digital Soldier. Everyone should watch that. Listen to Jason, guys. I did Martin Getty's essay, 5 Lessons for the Effective Digital Soldier, and it perked me up in a big, big way. So thank you all so much. Bill Dawson says he sounds like a combination of Scrooge McDuck and Neville Chamberlain. Yeah, dude, my accent, I could hear my accents all over the fucking place. Boris, imitation defective. Not enough stinky looking unwashed hair. He was good looking when he was young, by the way. Like quite handsome. But, you know, he was thin. All right. Mimi Ridblom, nice to see you. Mary Doe, pump women with chemicals or trick them into killing their babies. That pompous ass can go F himself. Mary, I got to tell you, we are basically at a point where we just have to completely pound the reset button when it comes to our entire world aristocracy. I'm willing to be proven wrong, but it's just a couple of generation after generation of convincing the educated class that God is a superstition. Guys, you can't fix that with anything except for God. And our leaders, the ones who do believe in God, are consciously his enemy, and the rest of them are atheists. You can't, it's an intolerable state of affairs. All right. I read Putin asked NBC who ordered Ashley Babbitt's murder. Give me that dog. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I'll get to that, Mrs. Hendricks. Claude Bernardin, how are you? You need to sing Toppins. What's Toppins? All right. Thank you, though. I'll sing whatever you want me to. Hello, Grant Morden. Nice to hear from you. Putin is based, I guess. My Russian is очень shitty. So I don't really understand him all that well, and I don't trust the translators. Matthew Trump, worldwide St. Michael prayer going on tonight. Guys, I don't know. The reason I end every episode with the St. Michael the Archangel prayer is real simple. I'm a Catholic, and they end every mass with that prayer. There's nothing symbolic about it, but the St. Michael prayer seems to be going beyond just Catholicism. Matthew, you're not Catholic. Wouldn't you be Lutheran or something? You're like German. Anyway, I bet you guys do the same stuff, though. All right. Plocha. Thank you, Juliet. Anyway, Plocha. That's Russian for bad. Anyway, all right. So Biden wasn't invited, lol. Yeah. All right. Poplins. I'd love to see Patrick's doing the Mary Poppins bit. Oh, guys, you know, I'm effeminate enough as it is without doing show tunes for you. Matthew is Anglican. Okay. In other words, Catholic light. Catholic, but you, but Queen Elizabeth I got you a few dispensations. All right. Let's see here. Claude, Patrick, Guy and I are preparing a huge story. All right. Well, it's 8. It's 8, guys. So let's talk about the agenda today because I have a funny feeling. Jilly Pepper says the Michael's Prayer in Latin, and no, she's not Catholic. Warfare. Nice, Jilly Pepper. Hey, nice to see you, too. Nice picture. So we want the Devolution song. Jill, I got to tell you something. Revolution is a hard song to sing. It's really hard. I've actually tried it a couple of times, and I will embarrass myself. All right, so FBI boarded up. Okay, so I have conflicting reports on the FBI being boarded up. There are other people who went back and said they went during business hours and people were coming in and out for lunch, and that certain parts of the building are boarded up, and we need to not, for now, don't give that FBI headquarters boarded up thing too much credit for now. My personal feeling on that. All right, so I'm not Catholic either, but I like that prayer you do. Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, cool. Obviously I'm going to keep doing it. I'm kind of in the habit of it. Yeah, doe, a deer. Yeah, I know. Hey, guys, I could do freaking show tunes. I'm just not gonna. All right, so on the agenda for today, now I'm going to talk to you briefly about Ashley Babbitt because I watched some of the videos and stuff. All right, let's pretend for a second, just for the sake of argument, that Ashley Babbitt was part of a mob of patriots who were very misguided and decided to like break the windows to go into the Capitol building and then storm it. Okay, let's suppose that's true. Okay, it's not. It's horseshit. Let's suppose for a second that it's true. If I were in charge of the Capitol Police, I'd say, fuck you, open fire. Okay, that's how I feel about that. You freaking start breaking down the windows in the United States Capitol? No, you don't get to do that. The people who were doing that, as I watched them on the video, were just Antifa wearing MAGA hats. And if you think otherwise, it's because you're stupid. Sorry. I've been watching Antifa in action for 4 years. That was Antifa, and Ashley Babbitt was a fucking operative. I'm not interested in entertaining opinions to the contrary. And if you disagree with me, it's just because you're stupid. That's too far. It's just because you're an idiot. There. Okay, that's perfect. So, I don't hello, Joe Pappas. Monkeyworks said closed. Monkeyworks, I believe, was referring to the same video. Okay, Monkeyworks is also agreeing that the FBI headquarters is closed. I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm saying that it was Flag Day after business hours. And I watched the video. It was a 30-second video by Richard Citizen Journalist. And he points out that there was a certain portion of the building that had boards on the wall. There was another portion that didn't. There were lights on the second floor, and there was merely chains everywhere. I suggested that let's check it out again during the middle of business hours. Let's check it out during the lunch hour when people are coming out for lunch. And I've heard other reports that people are coming in and out for lunch. So I'm saying, let's not get our hopes up on that piece of information at this time. All right. Bojo has 5 or 6 kids. Oh, really? You sure? Okay, awesome, Carla. I didn't realize that. Ashley's death means nothing. I don't think she's freaking dead, Proud Red Kansan, but guys, I watched that video. It was the fakest bunch of bullshit I've ever seen. Not interested. Mrs. Flintstone 17 says, patriots do not let the flag hit the ground. Yeah, I watched that video, and if those were patriots, then I am literally the monkey's uncle of the century. All right. Jesse Cornett. That's another name I haven't seen before. So welcome, Jesse Cornett. The Michigan plot to kidnap Whitmer was a dry run. What, an Antifa dry run? Yes, I get you, Jesse. I agree. But it's freaking left-wing violence. It's all it is. It's fake crap. You could spot Antifa in that January 6th crowd a mile away. Thank you, Lions fan 1960. All right, we're already well past the beginning. So I talked about Ashley Babbitt, who is, I don't even want to talk about Ray. So Dolinik Olenek points out, who is Ray? We don't fucking know who Ray is. We know that Trump appointed him. We got to assume he had some reason. And he's still in there. That's kind of weird. Ashley's husband was on Tucker. He wants to know who killed her. Whatever. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's an actor, DDQT. And that really is just going to be me. And I don't trust Tucker either. I mean, DDQT, you know where I'm at this point. All right. Whitmer sent undercover operatives to create that whole big bullshit kidnapping narrative. Huh, I hadn't thought of that. All right. So yeah, everything's fake. I mean, it's just so fake. FBI informants all up in that plot. I bet they were infiltrating DC too. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Yes, St. Richie has sent in issue 33, part 1. So you know what, guys? We've got a nice crowd here. Neil Shupak, we're doing the Arizona audit, but I think we're going to open with St. Richie, issue 33, part 1. I think that's the way to go right now. Then we'll do the Arizona audit. Then we'll do Special Ops Kim. And then, I mean, you know, it's going to be a good freaking time, guys. All right, so I'm going to download this right quick. St. Richie 33, Oracle finale, part 1. So this is a two-part season finale. St. Richie, I really dig the fact that you have scheduled the season finale two-parter, like, you know, like all good things must come to an end. Star Trek The Next Generation season 7 finale in a two-parter. So I'm downloading it and open when done and share PDF. Are you guys like super duper excited about this? I'm pretty excited too. I don't know if you noticed this, guys, but St. Richie is not exactly a lightweight in the IT community, and St. Richie is not his real name. I don't know who he is either. Okay. So just St. Richie's anonymity has been preserved. St. Richie, issue 33. I've broken this up into two parts. It was just too many pages to read in one sitting. 18 pages, guys. Buckle up. Apocalypse Never, part 1 of 2. God hates. I hope we all understand that fact. There is not a single attribute of God that lacks 100% perfection. God hates, not because I say he hates because he says he hates. But it is not the type of hate we think of during our moments of anger or mental fury. These moments are becoming all too common. God's hatred is always justified because his vision is always perfect. So if God hates, then what exactly is it that he hates? How about if we allow him to tell us? According to Proverbs chapter 6, verses 16 through 19, here are the 7 things God hates and considers an abomination: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running to evil, a false witness who speaks lies, and one who sows discord among men. Those of you just listening, the figureheads of the cabal are associated in pictures with all 7. Why all the focus on hatred, you ask? Well, do not criticize me. These are the things that God hates, and if God hates them, then perhaps we need to be paying closer attention. We'll come back to that topic in issue 34, but for now, I want us to turn our attention back to Oracle and the final 2 issues. Let's talk about where we've been. I wrote my first piece on Oracle, which was issue 2, The Q of Oracle. In that issue, I explained the circumstances surrounding the firing of Ezra Cohen Watnick from the National Security Council at the hands of H.R. McMaster. Ezra immediately landed a job at Washington, D.C. location of Oracle. Key to his job description was designing high-security cloud computing for NATO partners and other allied governments. Next was issue 3, the Oracle of Oil. There, we talked about the wild decision for Oracle to relocate its headquarters just after the 2020 election from Silicon Valley to Austin, Texas. This was precipitated by not only economic reasons, but for several other tight business relationships with big oil companies and key players in the industry. For example, former CEO of Exxon and Trump's Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. And then there was issue 17, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Google. This issue was mostly designed to give us an inside track on how Oracle plays very dirty when it comes to business dealings as well as their activity in the geopolitical space. We talked about how Oracle set up Google to steal the Java programming language only to be exposed by SCOTUS as a monopoly whose business practices needed to be scrutinized. And then there was issue 18, the revenge of low status. In that issue, we discussed the Middle America monopoly that Oracle process building out. It focused on the $1.2 billion Nashville investment and then has spread to at least 17 cities in those flyover states. It also started to connect very strong business, technology, Jewish and Israeli dots between Jared Kushner, Safra Katz, and Ezra Cohen Watnick. Next up was issue 20. IP, UP, we all P for IPs. This is where we dug a little deeper into Ezra and the allied governance part of his cybersecurity job description for Oracle. It was one of those very odd situations where all of a sudden Oracle was scheduled to open 38 regional cloud data centers in a single calendar year. Impossible. Both logistically and the IP address shortage would never allow for it. And then, all of a sudden, on January 20th, 2021, at 11:57 Eastern Standard Time, the still Trump Department of Defense released approximately 178 million IP addresses, and coincidentally, the IP shortage for the Oracle Cloud build-out was reported to have been resolved. Funny how that worked. And then there was issue 23, Vax a Nation. This is where Trump and Oracle were trying to partner up in jumping on the hydroxychloroquine bandwagon. Trump promotes the miracle drug, and Oracle provides the software and technical platforms for both the trials and rollouts. Trump went on to fake his infection and used the drug to further promote its effectiveness. So why is he promoting the vaccine now? You will see in a few minutes. Unbelievable. Finally, we have issue 24, Brace for Impact. This hit closest to home for me because it involved a fellow employee that was working for Georgia Governor Brian Kemp while simultaneously working at my company. He was involved in, quote, gross misuse of company assets, which forced him out the door after we used Oracle Server and firewall technology to track his activity. I still believe it offers the most promise in terms of getting real proof-positive data. But that is an involved process. But now for the big one. I've been researching a parallel track over the past few months on the software development side of things. When I first read the below press release, I must say I had mixed emotions because I was agitated they, Oracle, would get involved with the CDC. But I was encouraged that they at least were focused on tracking adverse events and side effects of vaccines. CDC used Oracle's EHR Cloud app suite for COVID-19 vaccinations. 5 details. We'll do the highlighted ones. Detail 1. Oracle built the National EHR database and public health management applications during the pandemic to support efforts to develop and distribute COVID-19 vaccines, therapies, and diagnostic testing. The database launched in June to register and communicate with more than 500,000 participants in the COVID-19 vaccine and therapy trials. And 3, people who receive the COVID-19 vaccine can use their smartphones or computers to report side effects through Oracle's public health management system, which connects them with healthcare professionals tracing adverse events. This Oracle tool later became known as vSafe. A core feature of vSafe is to track side effects and adverse events related to receiving a vaccination. One of the benefits of working in the management of enterprise-level software efforts is you get to share and bounce ideas off other management professionals throughout the industry, especially if you do business together. Well, my company is contracted with Oracle to the tune of just under $1 billion, so the connections are deep and wide. One of those connections is with Oracle's core software development team that works exclusively on projects that require government oversight. In conversations with that team, we had many interactions with people who provided all sorts of good ideas on how this type of data tracking would be easily transferable to our company, who is also interested in tracking this type of data for our own employees. For those into this type of stuff, it was obviously very exciting. But for those very few of us who were skeptical, to say the least, we were quietly prodding for information. We met every other week starting back in July of 2020, and it became crystal clear that the direction they, Oracle, were getting from the CDC versus the Trump administration were quite different. So it was a battle for sure. It was interesting to watch this play out in real time, but ultimately, they ended up with a great product. It was truly a masterful accomplishment in such a short amount of time. In March, Joel Coleman tweeted his congratulations to the entire Oracle team on the day of his first successful vaccination. Be safe. Less than 2 months later, he's dead. Oracle Apex, we're heartbroken to share that Joel Coleman has passed away from COVID-19 on May 25th. He was 54. Joel's warmth and enthusiasm touched countless across the globe. We miss him dearly. We invite you to share your memories. An IT executive who was never diagnosed with COVID receives a vaccination and then dies of COVID. Joel Coleman tweeted or retweeted someone just 5 more times, with his last tweet appearing on March 29th. He completely vanished thereafter. He averaged 44 tweets per month since June of 2020, with a low of 13 in August and a high of 64 in October. According to Social Blade, he averaged 50 likes per month in that same period. His disappearance was unusual as it relates to his normal social media activity levels. A lengthy eulogy published by someone in Coleman's community praises the guy while failing to mention the fact that he had his second injection just prior to his death. By refusing to report the facts and timelines so the public can connect the dots, the media is signaling through Coleman's COVID death, everyone still needs to get injected, so this type of thing never happens again. Have you ever heard of such insanity in your lifetime? So, take a moment to imagine the probability of what you just heard as reported by just a few media outlets. Quote, Oracle software engineer who designed vaccine tracker dies of COVID-19. Now, that is not entirely hard to imagine. Now calculate the truth. Oracle executive who led the design of a tool to track vaccine-related events just died of a vaccine-related event. That cannot be calculated. We will find out the truth about this and so much more, because this story and others are far from over. Every evil scheme they are devising will be brought to nothing in an instant, because while God is love, he is also a perfectly just God that will make even his enemies a footstool for his purposes. These are wicked and vile people who love the things that God hates. Throughout history, there are countless times where God snatches victory from the jaws of defeat. In part 2, we break down the Oracle Trump master plan. You will not believe the grand finale. In part 2, we will find out how God hates. And that's issue 33, my friends. St. Richie never disappoints. Guys, do you feel it? I feel it, guys. I feel the freight train. I feel the momentum. There is no part 2 to read now, Lions fan 1960. You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait till tomorrow. Oh, this is all going to go in a book. El Rofo, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, El Rofo. He didn't give it to me. He's telling me he's breaking up in 2 parts. St. Richie is inscrutable from time to time. We're going to get to part 2. But guess what? If you really, really want to feel super good when it's time to read part 2, you need to buy some angel paste. Angelpaste.com, promo code Shapiro, food-grade plant oils made by the assistant of a cosmetic surgeon, formulated over 2 years, painstaking trial and error for just the right treatment for the skin to help it recover after cosmetic surgery. Angelpaste.com, promo code Shapiro. It's got what skin craves. Okay. I know, Mountain Woman, you need more. Yes. St. Richie is busting out some freaking good stuff. All right. It's supposed to be unsweet tea. All right, guys. Here's what we're going to do. It's time for Among My People, Part 1. If I can find it. Part 1. The Arizona Audit Update for Reading Epic Threads, June 15th, 2021. Brad Raffensperger surprisingly tweeted on June 14th. Here we go. Hang on. I got my stuff all blowed up. 1 second. Bam, got it. Okay. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger tweets 12:24 p.m. June 14th, 2021. Restoring confidence in our elections is going to be impossible as long as Fulton County's elections leadership continues to fail the voters of Fulton County and the voters of Georgia. They need new leadership to step up and take charge. New revelations that Fulton County is unable to produce all ballot Dropbox transfer documents will be investigated thoroughly, as we have with other counties that failed to follow Georgia rules and regulations regarding drop boxes. This cannot continue. I don't even need to respond to that. You all know who Brad Raffensperger is. Yesterday, during the Reading Epic Threads stream, you guys mentioned that Raffensperger flipped. These comments below from great contributors will help solidify and bring more understanding of Raffensperger's puzzling move. Praying Medic wrote, Brad Raffensperger throws Fulton County election officials under the bus after it was revealed that hundreds of chain of custody documents for Georgia absentee ballots are missing. The storm has arrived, commented, quote, you had a chance to restore confidence, Brad. You chose to rubber stamp the fraud. They need new leadership. You should have resigned long ago. Your own party censured and publicly called you out for certifying the fraud, Brad. You intimidated and threatened the people who came forward and reported the fraud, Brad. You were a willing participant. Will be thoroughly investigated. By who, Brad? You? The Biden DOJ? Please. We see right through this re-election year PR statement. We saw with our own what you did, Brad. Lynn Wood posted, looks like old Brad Jordy Raffensperger is trying to do the keep out of jail shuffle. Or maybe he's just trying to identify more of his future cellmates. What do you think? I'm Your Moderator posted, this is incredible. Brad is responsible for this problem, and he's trying to shift blame. The chain of custody docs have never existed. It's a very interesting development. And Jeff Carlson, The Market's Work, tweeted, new revelations? Are you serious? The only thing new is the public admission from Fulton officials. This issue has been known for months, and I'm sure that you knew this as well, Brad. Odd how that risk-limiting audit you touted so heavily, which Raffensperger knows is not actually possible on Georgia's voting machines, didn't catch something this significant. 2. Misty G posted the skinny about Georgia as John Frederick laid it out on Steve Bannon's show. There are 18,000 ballots missing signatures. Biden won Georgia by 11,000 votes, 9,000 ballots separated between David Perdue and Jon Ossoff. If you take away 18,000 ballots, Trump wins and Perdue is in the Senate. 3. Arizona's Attorney General on June 14th warned the Biden Justice Department to back off its criticism of the state Senate's audit of the Maricopa County 2020 vote, charging that it was giving in to hysterical liberal Trump haters. Attorney General Mark Brnovich to Attorney General Merrick Garland, quote, "My office is not amused by the DOJ's posturing and will not tolerate any effort to undermine or interfere with our state Senate's audit to reassure Arizonans of the accuracy of our elections. We stand ready to defend federalism and state sovereignty against any partisan attacks or federal overreach." He also mentioned that to Garland, your comments followed a May 5th letter from Pamela Karlan of the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division on the subject of the Arizona Senate oversight of the Maricopa County audit. This letter appeared more interested in supporting the hysterical outcries of leftist pundits on cable television rather than the rule of law. Brnovich announced last week his bid for the U.S. Senate. Oh, God, Guys, I hate these people, but Mark Brnovich is only writing this stuff because he wants a Senate seat. We just got to pound that reset button, guys. Just replace them all. That's part 1, Patriots. Hopefully I can put part 2 before tonight's stream. You are all blessed and awesome, and Patrick is great. I love reading compliments to myself. From the bottom of my heart, I do. And guess what now? Arizona audit update for Reading Epic Threads, part 2. Hello again, Patriots. Most disgusting news of the day by CJ Truth Official. Biden administration asks Americans to report potentially radicalized friends and family. Yeah, you'd have to report like literally 150 million people. Whatever. The Nazis are well and alive. How dare they turn the sheep into their guard dogs? Wall Street Journal published, quote, Biden administration lays out broad strategy for targeting domestic terrorism. Praying Medic commented saying, diverting attention from the stolen election and continuing Obama's policy protecting international terrorists, the Biden administration released a policy that focuses on combating domestic terrorism. The policy legitimizes the FBI and DOJ surveillance of social media posts of patriotic, law-abiding citizens. I relied on Praying Medic and CJ Truth in gathering many of the following news items. 1. Mike Pompeo has launched a political action committee to raise money for conservatives running for office, whether it's school board, city council, or a United States Senate seat. WesternJournal.com. Pompeo launches political group Eye Toward 2024. 2. Former Donald Trump advisor Jason Miller confirmed he has joined a new tech startup as CEO, and that the firm plans to develop a new social media platform, but says Trump has not committed to joining the platform. 3. Statement by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America. Donald J. Trump is pleased to announce Liz Harrington, a strong Republican conservative voice for America, and who has represented conservative policies so well over the years, as our new spokesperson for Save America and Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America. Liz will be taking the place of Jason Miller, who will be leaving to enter the private sector. I'm going to read that a second time. Liz will be taking the place of Jason Miller, who will be leaving to enter the private sector. What sector is he coming from? The public sector would be the only other sector. But he's the spokesman for supposedly former president. That would also be a private sector job. But if he's in public service right now, it would be because The spokesman for the 45th President of the United States is a public sector job. Just saying. I greatly thank Jason for his service. He is outstanding, said President Donald J. Trump. Liz Harrington is a fighter, said President Trump. She was an important part of our receiving more votes than any incumbent president in U.S. history, far more than we received the first time we won. It is an honor of a lifetime to represent President Trump and to stand for the truth, said Harrington. At such a critical time for our country, President Trump's fighting spirit is indeed now more than ever, is needed now more than ever. We will not stand idly by and let America fall to the radical left-wing mob. Harrington is the former national spokesperson for the Republican National Committee, editor-in-chief of warroom.org, and senior writer for the Washington Free Beacon. She has long been a staunch supporter of President Trump. 4. A tweet from Texas Governor Greg Abbott pushing back on the encroachment of the federal government on the state of Texas. Greg Abbott tweets, I just signed a resolution asserting Texas sovereignty under the 10th Amendment over all powers not granted to the federal government by the U.S. Constitution. The resolution officially notifies the President and Congress to cease acts of encroaching upon the powers of the states. 5. Audit the Vote Pennsylvania announced Audit the Vote rally. We the people are demanding the Pennsylvania Senate to issue subpoenas to Allegheny and Philadelphia counties, read documents from the 2020 election, and to initiate a full forensic audit of these two counties. Join the Audit the Vote rally, 12 noon, Wednesday, June 16th, 2021, Front Steps, State Capitol Building, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, full investigative and forensic audit of the 2020 election, sponsored by Coalition for Election Integrity, Freedom Patriots United, Capitol Ministries, Patriots of the Constitution, Layton 912, Pennsylvania Coalition for Election Integrity, FG, www.coalitionforelectionintegrity.org, P.O. Box 1008, Goldsboro, Pennsylvania 18424. 6. Zach Heilman published today, June 15th, in Red Voice Media. Mike Lindell plans to host White Hat Hacker Cyber Forensics Symposium to expose stolen elections. As Lindell laid it out, quote, one of the things we're doing is it's a cyber forensic election symposium. We're bringing all of our evidence to a big venue I haven't announced yet. And I'll announce the date. Any cyber guy that's got credentials in the country, we're going to bring them there. It's going to be unpacking the packet captures, and everyone is going to get to see it. We'll televise it. I want to have congressmen there. I want to have senators there. I want to have Democrats, Republicans. I want to have governors, attorneys general, secretaries of state. Everybody can get there. Then once we show all the cyber guys and they can ask their questions and they're all going, wow, it's going to be like showing them a spaceship. And here you guys, you haven't seen anything like this. This is a miracle. And then they can all, it'll be a 2 event. The rest of them can all ask their own cyber experts or their own people. And by the time everyone leaves there, the whole country is going to go, we got to get this to the Supreme Court now and get this pulled down. The number 2 thing I'm doing is right after that. We're going to do a nationwide petition so that the big win is for the Supreme Court to look at it. So once everybody is convinced, which they will be after the 2-day event, we're going to do a petition. We're also going to do a mock election. We're going to show the whole world. End quote, Mike Lindell. 7. Kanakoa the Great posted interesting analysis from Dr. Douglas Frank about the origins of the ability to launder votes. Quote, Dr. Douglas Frank, at Follow the Data, on Twitter, I assume, says the algorithms began appearing around 2004, but became much more apparent around 2008 during the big emphasis to register to vote driver's license applicants at the DMV. This created a pool of registered voters who did not vote, but could be monitored and used to launder fake votes, end quote. Let's end with 2 cups of hopium. First, from Nurse Deplorable, who said to patriots, quote, "We are so over the target, friends. Expect slandering from the media to uptick as they race to discredit our peaceful cause, spreading truth and light. Let's review the things we've been proven right on in the last 2 years. Epstein is a pedo. Ghislaine Maxwell is a pedo. Rona came from a lab. HCQ is the cure. Rona created to push mail-in fraud, Biden family crimes, etc. They fear us because they cannot control us. The list of things we will soon be right about is even more damning for them than ever before. Hold the line." Last cup, CJ Truth Official, tailored for patriots. Quote, "We all have certain talents God has given us, or we have been prepared for such a time as this during this information war and war to take this country back and ultimately the world back for freedom. Learn from those who have been in this war for a while, but make sure you tap into what God wants you to do during this war. Some of you are information warriors who have influence and need to continue to share truths, air warriors. Some of you are ground warriors who need to get involved on a local level. We all need to get involved on a local level. Some of you can't leave the house and are spiritual prayer warriors who understand the spiritual war we are in. We all need to be praying. Find out your role. If you don't know, ask God. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. James 1:5. We are all different parts of the body of this movement. You have a role to play. Get in the battlefield. You are needed. You will be remembered well. Good night, adorable patriots, and thank you, Gunnels, for your superb reading. And thank you, among my people, for your absolutely incredible, badass, amazing reportage. Let's blow this up. All right, here's what we got. All right, so You ready, guys? Because I'm going to read a thread. Thanks to Special Ops Kim. The title of the subject line of the email is Stuff to Piss You Off. So thanks, Special Ops Kim. Let's see what we get. Unvaccinated students branded at New Hampshire prom. Quote, students who were unable to provide a vaccination card because they did not have or share a card or had not completed the full vaccination process had a number written on their hand, read a statement from the high school that outlined safety protocols for the prom. Thanks, Special Ops Kim. Guys, it makes me in the minority in this community, but I just don't think these vaccines are dangerous. I think they're flu shots. I just do. Sorry, I do. I've been wrong before. And obviously in this community, I am in the minority, and that's fine. Absolutely fine. All right. More Special Ops Kim. Georgia. Dawn Z01. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger just had a sudden change of heart over 2020 election. This traitor is probably shaking in his rhino boots right now as the fraud is being exposed. Trump hater and election fraud denier Brad Raffensperger just had a sudden change of heart when it comes to the sketchy/sham 2020 election. Raffensperger is the anti-Trump rhino Georgia Secretary of State who has spent the past 6 months or more trumpeting how just and fair the 2020 election was and how Trump was lying to his supporters when he said there was fraud. Well, now Raffensperger is singing a whole different tune now that actual fraud has been identified in his state. Suddenly, Raffensperger is the champion of free and fair elections and is demanding investigations into the ballot drop box transfer documents in Fulton County. So now you're going to have to hear me speculate. They had Raffensperger dead to rights. After Trump had that public phone call and he, guys, another thing about Raffensperger, have you noticed that he's basically mentally retarded, like almost as dumb as Saul? So when you realize that he's dumb, which he was, there was that conversation with him and his lawyer and Trump and then somebody else. Trump had him dead to rights. You could tell by Trump's tone that he had him dead to rights. After that was over, investigators took him aside and said, look, Raffensperger, we got you on treason. You're going to need to play ball now. He's flipped. That's how I think this is working. These arrests that we crave so much, Trump wants to have as few of those as possible. He wants to do everything quietly to avoid blood in the streets. That's what I think is absolutely going on. Wonder how he feels about Lynn Wood. Wonder how who feels about Lynn Wood. Damn, I love Lynn Wood. All right. Lions fan 1960. They are placebos. I think they're flu shots, Lions fan. I think it's the best explanation because there are flu shot-like reactions to them. Guy Smith, the media are the real traitors. Yeah. That they need to be, the mainstream media management need to be, and their advertisers need to be put on trial for crimes against humanity. And I think some of them are starting to realize that they're in the crosshairs. Special Ops Kim, doctors and COVID. A Twitter thread from Stacy at Scott's Fire, SCOTSFYRE. Question: when you hear about doctors and researchers with impeccable careers and reputations until sometime in 2020, and they are speaking out against the COVID narrative at great personal and professional cost, why do you think they do it? These are individuals with amazing resumes at some of our best institutions who have held senior positions. Largely, they are asking, why are we doing things we've never done before? Why are we saying things about this virus we have never said about any other corona or respiratory virus? Why are our health bureaucracy globally ignoring rigorous studies that contradict that narrative? Seriously, whose motives do you think are better? Those who speak clearly and convincingly against the grain, who are treating patients regularly and paying dearly for it, or those snuggled in government jobs from which they won't be fired who benefit from the chaos? If you are not listening to these dissident doctors, so you at least have points of view to compare and contrast, you are doing you and your loved ones a disservice. In my humble opinion, only those thoroughly convinced of their position would fall on their swords, and only if they truly thought they had important information. I have been sharing a lot of what they have to say, but can only do it behind PJ's paywall. I know other writers and commenters are in the same position. The censorship is insane, and those of you who want the info are missing more than you think. Please find someone you believe is speaking truthfully about what is going on around us and buy that time and knowledge behind the wall for at least a few months. It is generally not terribly expensive, but it will be worth it. While I can hope it is me, I would be just as happy if you joined someone else where they are still allowed to speak freely and consolidate evidence and information for your review and information. For those of us who do this for a living, we watch, read, and listen to tons of content and try to break it down into something digestible and easy to understand. We are here to do that work for you and do what we can to help you navigate and bring you voices the world is silencing. Good health and God bless. In the coming months, we are going to need a whopping dose of both. Her heart's in the right place, guys, but she's a total normie. You don't have to go behind paywalls to get truth. You just got to go off of freaking mainstream platforms. Get off of Twitter. Go to Gab. Get off of YouTube. Go to BitChute, Odyssey. You don't need to go behind her gay little paywalls. That's so gay and stupid. All right. Dr. Simone Gold and the frontline doctors are patriots. Damn right they are. Dr. Simone Gold is amazing. I don't think she's an actress. I just think she pronounces some words weirdly for no reason, and nobody has the balls to correct her. I would correct her. If you say paradigm to me, I correct you right then and there. You say, what's that word? What's that? Huh? You mean paradigm? Then it'll be over. All right. Tulip Surfer? I love the name and welcome. We must stop, point the finger at the left or opposition, but ask how we allowed this to happen to this country. Tulip Surfer. I don't want to stop pointing the finger at the left, but I still agree with the sentiment of your comment. Yeah. We are to blame. Our weakness, our cowardice, our gullibility, mostly our cowardice. You need to tell people, make me put on the mask. No, I'm not leaving. Call the cops. Let's see what happens. Okay. We were dismissive. Maybe we were. All right, let's keep going. You don't got to go behind any gay little paywall. Fuck that. Can you imagine? That is some normie mainstream media attitude right there. A thread from Truth Seeker. Thanks to Special Ops Kim. New. This is good news, guys. New. A federal judge has ordered the Biden administration to halt its ban on new oil and gas leasing on federal lands. This was one of the president's first executive orders upon taking office. The ruling is a big setback to Biden's climate agenda. I don't even think any of these executive orders are being enforced. I know I could be wrong. All right, Special Ops Kim, John Hayward. Heads up for never Trumpers. The left's new tactic of all-out resistance would be applied with equal zeal against your Romney-style gentleman loser candidates in the unlikely event any of them should reach the White House. They think it worked, so they'll do it again. Have no illusions that Democrats would be willing to reach across the aisle and work with some milquetoast, moderate, gope placeholder president who agrees in advance to retreat on every issue the left thinks is important and swears off fighting in the culture wars. The new tactic of resistance will be invoked against any GOP president. The weaponized bureaucracy will be turned against them just as it was with Trump. Their election will be declared illegitimate by the same Dems who currently shriek that questioning elections is treason. And you'd hear more of the weird mutation of resistance that we've been getting over the past 6 months. Left-wing media and bureaucrats saying they couldn't do their jobs, couldn't function at a basic level because the GOP president was so awful. That tactic has been successfully field tested and will now be a permanent part of the left's playbook. We couldn't think straight because this guy or gal was so awful. We couldn't reason. Everything bad we did was because the president's fault, because color, gender, bad. Yes, they'll do all this to the most moderate, squishy, collegial Republican president you can think of. The resistance tactics would be especially harsh against a female or minority Republican president. Here's why electing a black GOP president made racism 1,000 times worse. From Salon.com. The left is 100% totalitarian now, and they will weaponize every bit of bureaucratic and cultural power at their disposal to attack anyone who is not of the party. They'll blame GOP voters for causing the entire system to malfunction by electing a monster. And you'd better believe they will run these plays against whatever establishment tower of jello the never-Trumpers decide is the avatar of good political sportsmanship and sacred principles. Anyone you feel will be treated like an abomination who justifies total political war. It's not just rhetoric anymore. That's the big change. The transformation completed during the Obama years when every square inch of the titanic federal government was weaponized and against Trump. When the left weaponized its own incompetence. Of course, the Dems always said the GOP candidate was a monster. Remember how they ran against Romney and McCain? But now they'll act on it, treating any GOP president like an obscenity whose very presence causes DC bureaucracy to malfunction and American society to unravel. It's absurdly delusional to think you can find some Republican who will be so genial, so principled, so non-threatening and moderate that the left won't declare a new resistance and wage total war to undermine them. Because here's the dirty little secret about the resistance. It's all-out war against Republican voters, against the Americans who stand in the way of the left's totalitarian agenda. Not just the candidate at the top of the ticket. It's delusional arrogance to think you can appease a militant ideology by nominating a negotiator. And that's the thread. Guys, let me tell you something that's not militant. Angel paste. You get you some angel paste. It's very, very moderate on your skin. And it makes it feel younger at the very first touch. Anytime I use any other trash lotion, I regret it instantly. Angelpaste.com, promo code Shapiro. Hey, do you guys want me to go to that freaking Mike Lindell event? I don't know where it's going to be held. I'm going to keep ramping up events. Basically, the bigger budget I get, the more of these events I go to, and I'm getting better at Janie gave me this this selfie stick. Not totally. Oh, look. Okay, so like it's this thingamabob that I can like set out like a tripod, and it's also, once I figure out, I can extend it, and there my selfie stick, so I can like have my my phone like right here, different angles. I don't know. More events. PayPal.me/Bitcoin Armada. All right. Let's keep on going. But, oh, I got to check into the chat. You guys always have smart things to say. Okay. Yeah. So everything that John Hayward just said there was super easy. Promo code Sharp Hero. Guys, Ben Shapiro is a disgusting little Joffrey Baratheon monster freak show. All right. Cool Hat Harmony. Where have you been? Thank you so much for being here, Cool Hat Harmony. All right. Neil Shupak. I know, just venting. I'm pissed. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, they hated George W. Blah, 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 blah. They hated George W. Bush. He was almost as liberal as Ben Toro. Yes, it's true. We have to vanquish the enemy and make it so they can't come back. There are liberals out there we can work with, but I don't know. I don't know the answer, guys. You just have to keep fighting. Strongly recommend watching my videos, my standalone videos on Odyssey today, guys. Big good stuff. Mercury Girl says, Neil Shupak. Okay. All right, guys. I'm busting out into the middle of a conversation. All right. Brian Cates. Special Ops Kim. Brian is going to talk about Ivory Hecker. She is the future Mrs. Gunnels. She is replacing AOC for me in a big way. Wow. Turns out this reporter has just about everybody at that news station involved in suppressing the hydroxychloroquine info, and who told her she had failed as a reporter on tape. This is going to be huge. Try to put yourself in Ivory Hecker's shoes. Early last year, after Trump mentioned HCQ as possibly being effective in preventing catching COVID and curing the infection in the early stages, your station sends you out to do an investigative report. You talk to medical doctors and other viral experts. You learn the truth about HCQ and you put it in your report. But this runs counter to the narrative the station wants to run, so you get called in on the carpet and chewed out and are told you have failed as a reporter for doing your job and reporting the facts. How would that make you feel? And she's got all this on tape. She also obtained audio of Fox 26's VP and news director Susan Schiller telling Hecker to cease and desist posting about hydroxychloroquine on social media. Hecker interviewed Dr. Joseph Verone, MD, Chief of Critical Care and COVID-19 Unit at United Memorial Medical Center in Houston, who told her of his success using hydroxychloroquine on certain patients. Hecker says these viewers are being deceived by a carefully crafted narrative in some stories. Things turned racial behind the scenes, according to Hecker, who recorded her superior, Lee Meyer, as they judged the newsworthiness of a story based on specific demographics. On one occasion, a Fox 26 executive said that a poor African-American audience wouldn't care about Bitcoin stories. The poor are the ones who need Bitcoin. Hecker said the decision to shy away from these topics was not made in the interest of the public good, but rather in line with the leadership of Fox Corp and Fox's advertisers, one of which is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And then Brian says, question for Saul. If you can prove via audio tapes that media was deliberately suppressing medical information the public needed to hear, can you be sued in court? Not only did they shit-can her report on HCQ, they told her to stop posting about HCQ on social media. Right now, every single person that works at that station is scrambling to remember what they might have said to Hecker over the phone. I hope she has more. I hope this is a long thing, guys. And here's another thing. Bye, Neil Shupak. Here's another thing, guys. This means that this goes on everywhere, and she's the only one who's reporting it. Unreal. Just really unreal. All right. A thread from Red Steez, Stephen Miller. Man, did you guys miss the entire point here? Conservatives take a victory lap after Jon Stewart backs lab leak theory on the Late Show's return. Online leftists seem big mad. Stephen says, this isn't about a victory lap or Trump or Fauci or the lab leak or Pangolin's asshole. This is about how corporate media and big tech decide which information is considered crazy and a conspiracy right up until they don't anymore. This is about power, not victory laps. 8 months ago, this clip would be banned. I hope you guys know about Jon Stewart backing up the Wuhan lab leak theory. If you don't know that, this won't make that much sense, and I apologize. 8 months ago, this clip, Jon Stewart saying, yes, Wuhan lab, coronavirus. 8 months ago, this clip would be banned on YouTube and Facebook. Twitter would flag it for rampant misinformation. People were banned over this. Now, and with no new information, it's acceptable, and not a single journalist in mainstream media is asking why that is. The revelation in that segment with Stewart isn't Jon Stewart, it's Stephen Colbert. Colbert is an avatar of a biased media bubble who was rendered speechless, except for quips about a Wisconsin senator. Imagine what happens when Stephen Colbert finds out Hunter Biden's laptop is real. When Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube stop banning selective information because corporate media shames them into doing so, I'll take that victory lap. Anthony Fauci has lied to the public several times. He's admitted to it. He's tried to hide behind the gosh gee shucks act. To state this to someone like Colbert or media is verboten. This is another soft point Stewart was getting at. So, guys, I need to address this as well. The talking toilet brush said something very intelligent. I went through his Twitter feed, and Scott Adams pointed something out that says he agrees with me on the dichotomy not being possible, but he goes to the opposite side of the dichotomy, I think in bad faith because he's a deeply evil man. But here's what he said. He said, here are two thoughts that cannot be held simultaneously. And I agree with this. Thought number one, that a dangerous weaponized super virus escaped from a lab in China and caused a lethal pandemic. One. And two, 2020 was a normal flu season. Both A and B can't be true. If that's the case, what does that mean? Well, 2020 was a normal fucking flu season, guys. There's no super virus. So this whole Wuhan lab leak theory, also horseshit. Now, stupid talking toilet brush, evil, dirty man who's, I don't know, in the pay of somebody to keep the hysteria going. He says, yeah, there was a super duper weaponized lab leak. There's not, guys. There's nothing. We had a normal flu season. I don't know what else to say. All right, moving on. Wow, guys. Guys, we're done. We're done. We're done. All right, what do y'all want to talk about? Cheesy Moto, Battle of the Narratives. So I really, really want you guys to go on my Odyssey channel. And if you please, watch my new standalone videos. They're good. There's good material in there. You're going to love the new Kurt Schlichter. It's amazing. You're going to love the Martin Getty's 5 Lessons for the Effective Digital Soldier. You're going to love the one that Kristen S. had me do, which was decoding symbols on COVID and the vax. COVID's fake, guys. And this, guys, be afraid of the weaponized lab leak. Conservatives will believe that, right? Well, of course they will, because that was what Trump was using. This is all about narrative war. Whose lies are better? Please spread the word. Fear is the virus. We must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. Seriously, guys, fear is the enemy. There's no invisible demon dust to be scared of. All right. So we're going to finish up. But the Delta variant. Exactly, guy. All right, guys. COVID was the cover story. The jab is the weapon. I don't think so, Mercury Girl. I think the jab is just flu shots. I think Trump nerfed the jab. I think we don't get the stupid jab because flu shots are freaking bad for you. But don't be afraid. All right. Karen E says, I kicked ass reading the Kurt Schlichter thread. I did. If I do say myself, I was kind of in the zone on that one. So seriously, check it out. It's called The Coma Before the Storm. And it's really important also to note that Kurt Schlichter, while an absolute patriot on our side, he's a little bit of a normie, okay? Because he's like, Ashley Babbitt was assassinated and all that bullshit. And even he is saying a storm is coming, guys. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know the people in power aren't going to like it. The Coma Before the Storm. Check out my audio tribute to it, guys. It's going to be freaking badass. I know Fraudchi should be in jail, just what he did to the AIDS patients. Yes, he should. He is a war criminal. Fauci is. And we're all starting to know. All right, guys. I'm going to miss you until I see you again. So, Mendel's here. What's up, Mendel? You're here right at the end of the stream. It was Mendel's birthday yesterday. He has the same birthday as Donald Trump. Joe Papa says Kurt is evolving. I agree, Joe. I agree. All right, Juliet. Juliet. There are 3 types of jab, and I'm not talking about brands. One is a placebo. Juliet. Nice. Which one's the placebo? Maybe I'll take it. Just kidding, guys. I'm not really going to do that. All right. All right. Live life in fear, and life is of 1,000 deaths. Very, very nice, William Lampkin. Haven't seen you in a while, sir. All right. I remember when they had every AIDS. I know there is no AIDS. There's no virus that causes AIDS. There's just sometimes people living such toxic lifestyles that their immune systems fail. Sometimes they work in toxic environments and their immune systems fail. And then you just blame it on a virus, call them homosexuals, and murder them with AZT. Easy peasy, Japanesey. All right. All right. I'm going to round up, make myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and go straight to sleep. All right. I love all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, angelpaste.com, promo code Shapiro. You got to buy your Angel Paste, guys. Very good for your skin. And then paypal.me/Bitcoin Armada. I want to start going to more and more events, and I want to start including people who are in the cities that I'm going to. Maybe we can get some guests at these events and stuff. That'd be nice to have going. PayPal.me/Bitcoin Armada. I'm looking forward to being able to slip one of these into the hands of General Flynn at the what is his name? Jackson Laymeyer Senate for Senate event in Oklahoma that I'll be going to. It's going to be awesome. And then, of course, CooperandFrench.com. Promo code Shapiro, guys. You know you need it. It's good for your skin. I'm going to shave right before bed. All right. Let us pray. Saint Michael the Archangel, Defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. Love you all, and I will see you tomorrow.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created. Look, I'm really rich.